Yeah, I see what you mean. What was driving those full-time truck deals for Ernie Irvan like?
I mean, that was a lot of fun. Mark Simo from No Fear, he wanted to get into NASCAR. And so he formed a NASCAR truck team with Ernie Irvan. And at the time, I had no interest in NASCAR. I was, road racing. I was, running for Jack Roush and Tom Gloy and Trans Am. But, part of my duties were I was kind of helping manage the team with Ernie. So I was going to all the races. And Ernie and I became really good friends. And Ernie kept saying, hey, why don't you try one of these things? I'm like, I'll try one at a test. And I remember we went to Martinsville and we were testing, and he said, okay, I'm going to let you do a few laps. And those first few laps, I was so bad in that truck. I mean, I remember Ernie was trying to wave me in, but I'm like, there's no way I'm coming. I'm going to keep driving, I getting a chance at it. And then I remember in one lap, he came over and he was lying in the middle of the track when I came around turn 4, to get me to stop. And, he started teaching me how to do it. And so he was kind of my mentor in the beginning. And then at the end of the year, near the end of the year, he ran a second truck in Louisville, Kentucky, and he put me in. And Brian Redfern was a full-time driver, and I did decent, better than I thought. And so they put me in the truck full-time the next year, and that's when I really got my thrown into the deep end and trying to learn to do ovals, and it was a lot of fun.
That's pretty cool, man. Would you consider your incident with Rich Bickle to kind of be the welcome to NASCAR moment a little bit?
Yeah. I mean, it definitely got me mad because that year I was giving those guys so much respect, on the ovals, because I was really learning, and I'd get out of the way and I bided my time. And I remember I got my first top 10 and I thought I won the race. I was so happy. And we finally got to the first road course and I was really fast, and I really thought he disrespected me he took me off the road and, damaged our car up beyond repair. And so I was a little hot and I took it out on him. I waited for him and made sure that he didn't win that race. But I think it taught people, one, I wasn't going to take any crap from anybody, but two, I've always been an honest guy. And if I don't like somebody, they know it, and I couldn't hide it that day. I was pretty mad. So I don't know if it's right or wrong. NASCAR fined me, so it was probably wrong, but in the long term, it wasn't so bad.
Yeah. Did you and Rich make up afterwards, or did you just kind of move on afterwards?
I think we just kind of moved on. I don't think we're on our Christmas card list anymore. Like later on in my career, I had an incident with Biffle, Greg Biffle, and we were mad at each other for a while. But after that, we're friends again. We moved on from that, and I'd say we're good friends right now. It's just one of those things. We were both upset, and sometimes. When you're really trying in a car race, it gets emotional. And, right after it's, you really need to put everyone in a room for 5 minutes to relax and then ask them a question. And you'd probably get a more civil answer than, in the heat of the moment when you're pretty heart rate's up and, emotions are up. And, sometimes you say things you regret.
Yeah. Do you want to hear a story I have about the video with you and Biffle?
Yeah, sure.
That was the year that I first started following NASCAR, believe it or not. I kind of got a taste of it from my grandfather a few years before, but that's when I started getting involved. And you were the first road course ringer that I had heard of. And what was funny was when the incident happened, I showed it to a teacher at my school that I was very close with, and her thoughts were, I don't know what to say about that.
Right.
That's what her words were.
Well, the funny thing about it is it was a very clean interview, because what you didn't see, I had my 6 or 7 year old son next to me. I was holding his hand as I walked out of the hauler, and I didn't want to swear in front of him. So I was kind of making up funny words along the way because I was frustrated, but I was really trying to keep it together so I didn't set a bad example for him. He didn't really know what was going on. He was just couldn't believe all the people around and the hubbub about it. But yeah, so it turned out to be kind of a funny interview, and it followed me around for years.
Yeah. Did he ask afterwards, are we still getting ice cream?
he actually did, and we did actually get ice cream. I mean, Watkins Glen is some of the best ice cream in the country.
Definitely. You also had an incident with Marcus Ambrose, or he did against you, is that right?
Yeah, down in Mexico. And that was just a deal where I thought he was kind of a cheap shot because he hit me once to kind of spin me, and I was gonna, he was gonna get by me, but he hit me again and finished me off. So, I was pretty mad at him that day. And I mean, he's a great driver. I mean, he's one of the best NASCAR road racers probably ever. But that day, I was pretty hot.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yep.
Later that year at the Glen, when Ambrose won, it looked like in the video that he was right behind you coming to the checkers. Did any thought of payback come to mind when that happened?
No, I don't think I would have done that. I mean, if we were racing for position, then I would be a lot less forgiving, than somebody else. But I would never just take somebody out like that. I didn't come into my mind, no.
Okay, that's good on you, man. So, what have you done in the sports car divisions so far?
You mean in my career, or just, it's
in your career?
I raced for BMW for a long time, and I think winning Nürburgring, the 24 hours, probably one of my best successes. I mean, I've won a lot of races, but, to win over in Europe, where a track, I think it's the hardest 15 miles of road you could ever drive a car on. And I was the first and only American to win on that track for a long time. Until Connor DeFilippi won a few years ago, became the second American. But that's something I'm most proud of, just because the Europeans were very, this is our track, it's too hard, American can't learn it. And BMW put me in the car in 2003, and I wrecked in the middle of the night, which I thought, man, they're never going to have me back again. But luckily I showed enough speed where they brought me back the next year. And the next year we finished second. Then the third year we won the race. And to stand on the victory stand there meant so much to me. I think, one, being an American, and where Nürburgring is, it's right in the Ardennes forest where the Battle of the Bulge was fought. And, this is a track that, that it was Hitler's jewel. So to be standing there and thinking about all the lives that America lost and sacrificed for our freedom, and it just really got to me. It was really a cool moment. And to think about Adolf Hitler, seeing some guy from America, from California, with a big afro on his head, winning a race on his track. I'm sure it would make him roll over in his grave, and that made me feel good. So that was one of my biggest wins. I think that really meant a lot to me.
I never knew about that.
Yeah. I mean, sure, winning the 24 hours of Daytona and 12 hours of Sebring and 6 hours of the Glen, those are all, every time you win a race, it's great. You remember certain things about it, but Nürburgring was a little extra special because where it was and how hard it is to, it's an unbelievable piece of road. It should be a bucket list for anybody to go there. It's unbelievable.
That's pretty cool, man. Which track do you like the best between the Glen and Sonoma?